Right.
There was just no other way it was gonna go.
No, and it shows, man. I mean, you're still at it today, so evidently you've
Uh,
accomplished the goal of making it. And I find that to be like hella impressive when people can make it like a decades long thing. That is like, man, it must have taken a lot of mental fortitude to like push through beyond all of that crap and still run
Oh,
it.
I've trust me, man. I went through, man. I definitely went through periods where I just was like, man, I can't. I needed breaks. I definitely went through a few periods where I needed some breaks. You know what I mean? The longest break I believe was in 2005. I moved back to Syracuse, um, and was moving heavy with this crew called the Senate. Shout out to the Senate. Taj Mahal, Sammy G, Thumpman Doza, and all the rest, Nitron, Salute. The Senate was actually I don't even want to bring up these dudes' names right now, but the Senate was actually, kind of in the little family tree with like Dipset, you know what I mean?
Say
So
word. Yeah.
my my dude Taj, he rocked heavy with Jewels and shout out to Uncasa. That's my dude. Uncasa's really the only one that I ever really rocked with. You know what I mean? Personally. Shout out to Un.
I only know who Ancasa is because I watched. So I look into whoever it was. I think it was Bishop Bones Brigante or somebody
Yep, yep, yep,
battled
yep,
Uncanta
yep.
and
Uncasa.
Uncasa, sorry. And I was, you gotta understand, my first ever real thing was like 2 weeks before that. I got told I was talking to Iron Solomon and he was a legend and go do my research, right? So it was like
Shout out to Solomon, man. That's
head
my
first
guy,
into
man.
that. So now I'm watching this battle. I'm like, why is the guy just yelling at him and shit? Like, I was so confused at this point, right? Because I'm like not understanding the evolution and shit. And I'm
Sure.
like, man. So I know who he is from that one battle. But that's cool. That like
Yeah, he was one of the if you look back in the battle, you want to start talking battle rap. Un was like pivotal part of that those Smack DVD eras. Like his battle with T Rex was legendary. You know what I mean? So salute to my dude Un, man. He don't get the credit and the flowers that he deserves either. You know what I mean? But salute to him.
and I believe that it was broken down to me that he's from an era where battle rap was more like that and it has a whole different thing. And then it got explained to me that the way it is now is like an evolution of an evolution,
Oh, so it's
and it
it's
all.
definitely an evolution of what it was.
So I mean, I think it's cool that like then I learned how much like wrestling it is. I know, like fucked me up, and it started to make like way more sense how everything plays out with it. And I got like hella more into battle rap in general, to a point where it's like, okay, I get it now. I enjoy this as like a thing that like I can get into for reals because it's just dope. But like it totally takes
Dope.
a second to understand that shit. You gotta like,
It's a whole history in itself. You got hip hop history, right? But then you have other different histories within itself. You got the graffiti history. You know what I mean? You got the MC history, which is different. You know, at some point it will become different than the battle history. You know what I mean? Like the artist side of it. Because in the beginning it was a battle, kind of a battle, and then it went to more music, and then another subgenre of just battle rapping came out of that to now where battle rapping is really its own. It has its own spot in hip hop right now.
yeah, I mean, like it's almost like I started checking verse tracker. I'm like, well, if I can't find music, let me hit up that verse tracker because sometimes Flacco will just throw me a name, and I'm like, who is this? Anyway, but like it's crazy how like this, and then you go on it and you realize how in depth this whole universe goes with the leagues and all the various just the history of at least a good decade now. Like people have been on
Yeah,
YouTube proper since like a decade at least.
2008 Grind Time hit YouTube. Shout
Right.
out to Grind Time for being the catalyst of this new era. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Of battle rap that we know today, man. Salute to Direct. Salute to Mad Ill. Salute to Lush One.
I had the pleasure of talking to Direct and Lush One, and
Dope,
it blew my mind. Honestly, both
dope.
those guys are incredibly they're geniuses in very different ways, and that makes it incredible to know how ingratiated they all were with each other back in the day, because so different but
Yeah.
so genius with their approach to it. um
Hmm.
so like, I guess you took a break in 2005, like you come back to
Well,
Syracuse.
2005, I came back to Syracuse and I was going heavy for about a year. So about 2006, and I was going heavy. I put out a mixtape hosted by Uncasa, you know what I mean? And we was running heavy, man. We was selling. We pressed up thousands of mixtapes, man, and we was all over selling them joints. We were all over the place. And then I just again always tapped into the street shit, man. You know what I mean? Never really left the street shit alone, So that shit just became a priority again. You know what I mean? So I ended up not really doing any music for like 2 years until 2008. I decided to drop my official second project. That would be my official second project. I had three mixtapes in between, but 2008 is when I dropped Real Rap. And then after I dropped Real Rap, I've been just kind of going ever since. You know what I mean? Nonstop.
That's fair. So okay, so you drop it in 2008. Are you still in Syracuse at that point?
Yeah, I'm still in Syracuse. Still in Syracuse. I stayed in Syracuse until 2012 and I moved to New York.
What made you decide to go to New York?
It's time to get up out of here, man. This was time to go somewhere else, and just do some different things. You know what I mean? Who wouldn't want to move to New York City? It's the greatest city in the world. You know what I mean?
I hear you. Um, I mean, I never been, so I don't know. I would have to
Uh,
go at least once before I could. But I hear from everyone that it's the greatest city ever, and it's not worth arguing about it and just accept it.
Definitely not worth arguing about it because I've been to tons of cities, and just there's nothing like New York City.
Yeah. Um, I've heard way too many people say that for me to doubt it. I'm not doubting it at all. I just have yet to experience it. I'm planning on it very soon. But so when you get to New York City, how does that hit
Well,
you?
well, I was just, I think I kind of jumped the timeline because
Oh, my bad.
yeah, I jumped the timeline. So in 2010.
Right.
So the battle rap thing started in like 2008. So I'd go to Florida. I would judge battles. You would catch me on Grind Time judging battles in Florida, judging some battles
Oh
in New
shit!
York
I'm glad you
City.
went back.
Yeah, yeah. No, I was judging battles. This is how I got involved with battle rap. You know what I mean? Um, Matt Ills was one of the owners of the company, and I've known him since he was a young kid. I told you I met him in Orlando. Produced his first project. Grind Time started in Orlando. I think Direct was going to Full Sail, and they just got this thing going. Um, and I was judging battles for a minute, and I think at one point I was gonna do a battle. I was gonna do a battle with somebody. They didn't show up, right? And I'm like, I came all the way to Florida, and they didn't show up for the battle. So then I was just like, yeah, nah, I'm not gonna do that. You know what I mean? That had me too frustrated. So I prepared, was ready to battle. Dude didn't show up. You know what I mean? And I was tight. You know what I mean? Because I was ready to go, and I put all this energy into that, and then it didn't. And I was just like, and I noticed that happens a lot. People won't show up because back then wasn't nobody getting paid. People was traveling across the country to battle in different cities on their own dollar. There was no money being paid out. You know what I mean? They were just wilding for respect back then. You know what I mean? And shortly after that, me and I had went on tour with Matt Ills, and we eventually landed at Scribble Jam.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so the end of the tour was Scribble Jam. That was the last show. So during Scribble Jam, um, a very prominent conversation that happened between Matt Ills and Pumpkinhead.
Right.
And this is where Pumpkinhead comes into play to take over, or help run, with Jay's Juice the New York division of Grind Time. which we know is G Tech.
Right.
Um, and at that point, so I go back to Florida, finish up the tour, and then I go back to Syracuse, and I was just like thinking to myself, after going to a couple more battles, out in New York City, I'm judging for Pumpkin for PH. I would judge battles, and then I'd go back and forth, and eventually I just came up with the idea like I need to do an upstate New York division of grind time. So I just hit up PH, picked his brain, asked him what his thoughts was about it. He thought it was a great idea. He gave me his blessings. So then basically after that, I just went to Ills like, yo, I want to start a upstate New York division. What do I need to do? And he was like, yo, we do this, do this, do this, do this. And we did it. And we had the upstate New York division of grind time.
Yo, that's dope. How did that go? Like
It went great, man. We had tryouts. And it's crazy because by the time I was ready to do the tryout, PH just wanted to battle. So he left his duties to Poison Pen.
right.
So during my tryouts, it was me, Matt Ills, and Poison Pen that came for my tryouts in Upstate. So this is where me and Poison Pen start building our relationship. We already knew each other and had a relationship before that from just going to the battles, but this is where we start building it because now we're working together. You know what I mean? I'm going to all of the New York grind times. He came to my tryouts, came to a couple battles in Syracuse, and was just getting a lot of advice from him with the booking these battle rappers, how to find these battle rappers. Upstate was very much untapped when it came to finding talent. You know what I mean? But I was
Right.
reaching out, reached out. I had people from Rochester all the way to Buffalo, to Albany in my division. I had a dude from Philly in my division, that would come from Philly to battle in my division. So it was dope, man. I mean, everything is documented. All the battles and the events that I did are put up on YouTube. Grind time, upstate New York.
So basically, you're the lush one or poison pen of upstate New York. That's dope.
That's what it is.
And so there's a bunch of videos of you going, okay, on the left, the battler is blah,
Yes,
blah, blah.
sir.
On the right. And then you have your own, like, shtick that you do that I don't know yet.
Yes,
But
sir.
that's fucking cool, man. And so you basically did all the behind the scenes promotional work and just kind of kept it
I
alive and
did
shit.
everything. I pretty much ran everything myself. I didn't really have a team. The only team that I really had was my cameraman, Tone Spliff. Shout out to Tone Spliff. Tone Spliff was from Utica. He shot all the videos. You know what I'm saying? That's my guy. But besides that, really, I did everything myself. I didn't really have no team. A lot of the battle rappers would help out with some shit, some flyers and things like that. Help promote and all that. Shout out to all the battle rappers that was promoting the battles and getting everybody in the doors.
Yeah, that's incredible. How long did you run that for?
2010 till 2012.
And I guess that's when grind time is no longer grind time. Or
No, it was still around then. My dude Real Talk took over my position. Shout out to Real Talk. He was one of the battle rappers. He took over my position and was did some events after that. But definitely it was you know it was on its decline, um, and on its way out the door. I mean, you know, it held on for as long as it could. You know what I mean?
right.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I did a whole documentary about behind the scenes of battle rap that's out on my YouTube channel.
I did not peep that, but I'm actually very interested and I'm gonna peep that
Yeah, you should
because
watch it. It's very intuitive. Not the best documentary in the world because I didn't know how to shoot a documentary. I just did it. You know what I mean? Like a lot of other things that I learned how to do. I just
when
picked
did
up
you
a
make
camera and
this?
started doing it. Uh, I'd have to look to find exactly, but I would say maybe 2014,
Okay.
2015, somewhere around there, 2016, somewhere in that area.
I'm definitely gonna peep that documentary, and I know sometimes people say they definitely will, but I have high interest in making documentaries in the future. So it's like, oh shit, let me look at what one in this tier looks like. Plus,
But I did because I had no idea what I was doing.
but on top of that, I think it's a lot more about the knowledge source. How many
Yeah, for
people are a
sure.
part of the internal workings of Grind Time, where I've talked to Poison Pen and Lush One and Direct and
Absolutely.
like several other people. I mean, Dutch Faye guys is my guy in this endeavor. You know, like
Shout
Sarah
out to Dutch.
Kana, a bunch of people.
Shout out to Sis. What up, Sis?
And so I've gotten to like hear a lot of stories about this era, and but it's all stories. To get visuals,
Yeah. No,
that's
that's the thing. That's the thing about the whole culture, man. Everything is documented. The Grind Time channel is still up and running. There's still classic battles, that you can watch. You can watch the evolution of Grind Time from the beginning. I
so
think
the
I think I think from the very first battle, man, with Johnny Storm and damn, I can't remember who he battled. Shout out to Johnny Storm. Johnny Storm and maybe Moss Gelton. Maybe I can't remember. That was the first battle that got like mad views and started clicking for the battle rap shit. So really shout out to Direct and Mad Ills, man. They really like those dudes, man. They don't get the credit, man, for what they did. You know what I mean? And definitely Lush One too. Late Lush One came on board after they had already laid some of the footprint down and made this thing even bigger. Lush One is like the one of the dudes that was started doing these big events. The Bola events was huge. You know what I mean? Battle of the Bay and all those events were crazy, man. And Cap Callis too. Cap Callis started running in Orlando and was doing big events too. Grizzle Mania. Those are some of the events that played a big part in popular making this battle rap thing just catapult.
I appreciate that. And I mean, I can see how that worked out. Here's I guess the difference is you can watch all this stuff, but the context isn't attaching it to each other.
The context is not there, but you can definitely watch the battles. I mean, like, yo, Poison Pen is the first one that did a pay-per-view. That was his thing. He did that
Right.
in Grind Time. You know
I
what I mean? And like my dude Penn don't get the flowers that he deserves, man, because he did a lot of firsts in this battle rap thing. You know what I mean? He brought a lot of celebrities to the table with this battle rap thing. You know what I mean? Because he was a celebrity.
Yo, that's a good way to put it. I mean, he's a legend.
100%.
Like that guy, like his story is just incredible. And it,
Stories that people don't even know, man, that I'm privy to, that I wouldn't speak on because he didn't speak on them himself. But like, just so many stories, bro. So many stories. Penn has been around, this battle rap thing before it was even what it was, before he'd even fight, hook back in hook.com and things of that nature. You know what I mean?
plus he
Radio battling.
plus just the way he tells stories, too
Oh,
good.
Penn is the guy for that. You know what I mean?
But
He's
here's an
definitely
example. I didn't know to pay attention for Poison Pen laughing until somebody told me to pay attention for Poison Pen laughing. Like it's the kind of thing you wouldn't necessarily look for unless somebody pointed it out to you and go, but bro, you gotta just look at his reaction on this classic battle. And there's like a sect of people that debate classic Pen reactions to bars.
yeah,
I've seen,
absolutely.
and it's amazing. But like you don't know about that. You're just watching it. You're like, who? You know, you don't even register that the guy's laughing because you're focused on it. And then I started looking at the crowds different, and but it was really because I talked to so many of y'all, and y'all like just gave me these little additional things to care about.
Right.
With regards to the whole ambiance. So, because I'll be like, I've watched battles prior to talking to y'all, and it was never the same experience. Like I had to watch the movie Bodied just to kind of wrap my head around why people said a bunch of shit. It didn't make sense to me. And so like
Yeah.
as time's gone on, now I get it. But it really is like once you get it, it's dope. And so that's why it's like to get a documentary like that, even however the quality is, your context is gonna be like a powerful asset to anybody.
It's definitely good context, and it gives you a good timeline. It lets you know it if people are wondering if there's a fan, right, and they want to know how did this new era of battle rap become what it is, you know what I mean? This is the documentary you want to watch because there's a lot of false narratives out there. You know, people will revert you back to Fight Club and Smack DVD, right? They'll revert you. Oh, they catapulted this. No, that's a different era. Though those are totally different era. Battle rap was non-existent. Nobody cared about battle rap, especially in the industry. Nobody in the industry cared about battle rap.
Yeah, it's
Sorry, it's mad bugs out here right now.
no worries.
But you know, Jump Off, which was a 2-on-2 battle league. I'm sure you've heard of that. You know what I mean? They were the ones that really started bringing the battle rap shit back. Still a different format of what we know today, but they were, you know, had these little 2-on-2 competitions, and this is where all these battle rappers, a lot of them came together. You know what I mean? And this is where Direct his idea to, you know, because it was over with. You know what I mean? And Direct was like, "Damn, I don't want this shit." And he'll discuss this in the. You can hear him say this out of his own mouth on my documentary. You know what I mean? And basically, he's like, "I didn't want it to end, so I wanted to create something to keep the vibe going." And they did. They create when this is where Grind Time was birthed. This is where this new era of battle rap, as we know it today, was birthed.
that's
Period.
that's dope.